This episode was made possible thanks to generous supporters on Patreon. Good day, guitar fellows, and welcome to another episode of Dr. Zerner's Guitar Lab. Today we are talking about how to practice with a metronome efficiently, so let's get started. In episode 4, I said that the metronome should become your best friend, and the reason for that is that with the metronome you can not only improve your speed and cultivate your internal tempo, but you can also learn to play all kinds of interesting rhythmic groups and improve your overall sense of rhythm. The mechanical metronome as we know it was built by the German inventor Johann Melzel in 1816. And his mechanical skills were very well developed thanks to his works with automatons and all kinds of tiny machines. He based his invention on an earlier mechanical device done by DZGL in Amsterdam in 1814, and he called it chronometer, but instead of getting a patent for it, he donated it to the Dutch Institute of Sciences, Literature and Fine Arts. Melzel used Winkel's ideas and patented the metronome that he actually created for Beethoven because due to his hearing loss, he needed a timekeeping device to help him conduct his symphonies properly. Later in 1818, Melzel added a scale of number marks for the tempos because he thought that this is more practical than the used Italian terms for tempo like largo, adagio, moderato, andante, allegro, presto. These number marks are very cleverly designed and they provide two very important functions. The first one is exponential tempo increase and the second one is tuplet interchangeability. I will explain in more detail a little bit later in the video. Nowadays, these marks are known as standard tempos or tempi if we have to be a little bit more literate. Being informed about how the metronome was designed and how it works is very beneficial to practicing with metronome. So based on this knowledge, I prepared 4 tips to share with you about efficient practice with metronome. 72 BPM. This research shows that the heart rate is closely related to the tempo, and that's why you can very often hear some bands playing their songs live in faster tempo. The reason for that is that once the adrenaline pumps into the system, it raises the heart rate, and since the heart rate is connected to how you refer to the tempo becomes faster. Also, due to the fact that 72 BPM is pretty much the average heart rate of a calm, healthy adult person, and it's also a very good idea to stay calm and relaxed during practice, I designed my guitar exercises to be played in 72 BPM and increasing the speed by playing shorter notes instead of increasing the tempo. Here's a quick example of how it works. Standard Tempi. If you have played with a metronome, you know that the difference between, say, 40 and 50 BPM feels huge, whereas the same difference of 10 beats in faster tempos like 200, for example, is fairly noticeable. This is where the exponential tempo increase comes handy, because as you can see here, the increments get bigger the higher we go on the tempo scale. Therefore, using these tempi, we actually get a more natural feel as we go faster and faster. And that's why I would suggest you using these tempi instead of random numbers, usually rounded to 10 for mathematical convenience. Another reason for using this approach is that these tempi are designed in such a way that if you divide higher tempo on 2 or on 3, you get either exact number or a very close approximation of another existing tempo from these marks. So, for example, if you want to switch from 16 notes to triplets or vice versa, you can find very easily the necessary tempo instead of going with unnecessary calculations. Offbeats and groupings. A smart way to improve your sense of rhythm is to play things like offbeats and different note groupings, also polyrhythms with the metronome. For example, start with a simple scale and play something like that. In this case, I'm playing 8 notes on the offbeats of the metronome. You can apply the same idea with the offbeats and start playing something like that. Which in this case is a triplet where I play only the second 2 notes, and the first one is actually a rest which falls exactly on the beat of the metronome. And if we continue the same logic, we can do, for example, 16 notes where we play just the last 3. Or we can do some polyrhythmic exercises, like the simplest example is 3 against 2, which means that I will play 3 notes on every 2 beats of the metronome. Half tempo. It's logical when you start learning a new piece to start it on very slow tempo so you can be able to play it correctly. But the question is, how slow is a good starting point? My personal experience shows that the best option is to start half the original tempo for 2 reasons. First, it's slow enough that you can play everything without mistakes and without efforts and without stopping. And the second one is that it's still fast enough that you don't lose the sense of melody and your transitions between the phrases don't break down. So that's everything for today's episode. I hope you guys find this video useful. Thanks for watching, and if you like my work, consider supporting me on Patreon up here or on the link down in the description. Click like, subscribe to my channel, click the bell icon to get informed when I upload new video. See you next time, and remember, practice makes perfect.